All right, good job on you too. Getting a little bit of hair on them balls you got. Them that like them some cojones you over here talking about. Look at you, growing up. Got the sleeve tat on. I told you once that he got that tat on. He was gonna be a different person. Got like the beard. Like you could just tell when, especially with athletes, you can always tell when they done hit past that I ain't a baby no more. I ain't a kid no more. You can't just I'm gonna just say what I gotta say. And by this I mean I wouldn't say beef, but basically to talk about his truth, talking about his feelings on Brian Flores. Now that was his coach his first 2 years in the league and whatnot. And basically, you know, talked about the differences between Brian Flores basically coming at him like you suck, you ain't gonna be making it this long, you ain't no good, basically tearing the poor man down to basically he ain't even got what it takes to make a house. He just the bare, he just the bottom. He ain't. I was like, he just planks. We ain't even got you ain't even an idea. I don't even wanna make nothing with you. Like that's how basically he made it sound. And then compared to Mike McDaniel's, who is like, yo, you awesome, you great, you got this, I can win with you, you my guy, and all this stuff. And I was like, and I'll go ahead and say that basically Brian Flores basically, I think he sort of owned up to it. Like I don't think it was something where it was like overly apologetic or nothing like that. Because I'll be honest, I think a lot of times, especially when people gotta apologize, like just apologize or just be like, yo, my bad, I didn't do great here. And then he was also like I learned from it, and I'm here on this team or whatever. And just because I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I think that after a certain like you apologize or you just say like yo like I could have did better stuff like that, like you own it and then you just move on. Because anything after that, like I know a lot of times people want you to go in this whole like talking points and talk about all this other stuff, and I'm just like, why? Just be I'm like, look, dude apologize. Like you don't need to do anymore. Because sometimes after a while it just sounds like you you really just doing it for the PR look. You just over here just saying what you need to say. Because guess what? Especially once you're in the limelight of things, it's all just basically to simmer everything down. So it's like I don't really, and plus it ain't nothing serious where it's like nah, we need to hear what you sorry about, nothing like that. Like this ain't that. Get over it. I was like, he said he took the hard being a terrible person just because I was like, hey, that is a lot different than just being like, yo, I hated him as a coach. You done enough of these podcasts that's they done already done said or told who they don't like as a coach and whatnot. So but Tua, that's not how Tua came across. Tua came across in a very more, I was like, I don't want to really use emotional because I know how that can sometimes be taken away, but he came more sympathetic in a way of relatability. And also then Flores had a couple of his players come through and basically say like, oh, when he did come here, I did sort of think he was a hard ass, but then he seemed to balance out, which can show that growth that Flores talked about. Now I will say, because I was like, to be honest, I was like, I think this is one of them things that, especially with sports, and I know a lot of people like to try to take away sports and real life and things like that, except for when it does intertwine quite a lot. And I think this is sort of one of them talking points. The football side of it first is that on one hand, I was like, look, some people could say like, hey, Tua, you need to put some dirt on him, I was like, man up. It ain't that bad or whatever like that. First of all, we ain't there. We don't know what that is, and also at the same time, just one of the times that I do think like the crossover does matter. Of like, hey, we all got a boss. We all got people that tell us what to do, and guess what? I was like, what are some of the complaints that we normally have? Is that basically you feel like you ain't nothing. You just here to do this, and even then, even if you don't matter how you do it, don't matter. And I was like, football is I was like, and it's also result driven, where like if you ain't doing what you need to do at your job, then you can be out. But at the same time, I was like, you need to get trained on the job, because he dealt with this as a rookie. It ain't like he was 4 or 5 years in, something like that, to where it's like he done already got the NFL a little bit on his off his shoulders, the way he's like, oh, okay, this is just hard code, not gonna take it or whatever like that, or the way that he was sort of thrust in, like he's a top pick. Like I know they want to talk about like Brady and Belichick, but I was like, that's not necessarily the same situation, because it's not like, because I was like, Brady wasn't a high draft pick. There was already enough veterans there where it's like, what Brian Flores was getting into, I was like, they was really destroying everything down. They was getting rid of a lot of players, a lot of veterans and stuff like that, and starting over in a way that it's like it was nobody else there either. So it's like Tua was also there, like more than likely by his lonesome in a lot of spots. Like I know Fitzpatrick was there and stuff like that, but it's still not the same thing as like Bledsoe being there with Brady in the sense or whatever, or or how we got later on about like, hey, wanting to get Deshaun Watson in there or top quarterback, which I was like, I don't blame Flores for that part. But in saying that, I was like, Tua saying what he says, I was like, it's valid, because like, look, nobody can tell you how you should necessarily feel. Like we could talk it out to see, they're like a meeting, or maybe maybe it's like I don't know, I wasn't there, but maybe since you were there, you got like you're blindsided, maybe you could be a little bit more mad or all the other stuff, but for the most part, your feelings are your feelings, and Tua wasn't feeling like he was getting anything here. And I was like, look, he did have like Nick Saban as a coach, and Nick Saban can be a hard ass as well too. So you can't even use necessarily the hard ass thing of like Brian Flores, because I was like, he comes from the Bill Belichick thing, and we already know how that sometimes goes. But I was like, but on the other hand, I will say, and I do understand going from that to Mike McDaniel, who's like, oh, you're awesome, you're great. And I was like, I do understand like the encouragement of being like, yo, hey, you're doing this and all this other stuff. But, and also, we're not there, so we don't know that level of encouraging in a way. Because I was like, guess what? He says that. I was like me, I know that if I also hear that, not saying just because of what, maybe like, say if I got what the Brian Flores treatment, that getting the Mike McDaniel treatment, I was like, maybe because of that or maybe not. I'm just also going to be like, okay, now you just over here trying to blow air in my ass, or being like making me big headed. I was like, I'm not gonna. I was like, and like I said, the Brian Flores thing could be where it's like maybe why he didn't believe it, like at a point. But also too, I was like, I am also one of the people that I'm like, you shouldn't even meet too many. Like, oh, you're awesome, you're great, and all this other stuff. After a while, I'm like, yo, you overdoing it. I don't understand why you doing all this. Like, you can say I got that correct or something like that, but if you're over here just like giving me like hella compliments, I'm also very iffy about that as well too. So, but I was like I said, we're not there now. Although a lot of people have said that they can corroborate that was what Brian Flores was doing to Tua, and also too, like, as a coach, you gotta. I was like, the coach thing is like, especially with like people that came from the Bill Belichick stuff. I was like, I never understand this, but as a coach, I was like, because you got to deal with so many people, just like any type of job as well too. When you're the top, you can't treat everybody the same way. And I was like, and guess what? A lot of bosses don't really do that necessarily well. They just like, this how it is, this how it goes, nothing else in between. When really it's like, that person might do well, where it's like, because the thing is with football players, especially, that you sort of hear that, and I was like, and to be honest, I've seen this in sort of regular workplaces too, that it's like, I get you mad, I say something to you that gets you angry, and it's like, I'm just lighting the fire into your ass. And I felt like that, but especially with sports, that's because I was like, I'm not going out like I was like playing sports, but I played sports, and I was like, I remember that being said in a way where it's like, this being said, and I don't like to motivate you and get you mad, and never really did with me, because I was just like, to me, I was like, am I doing the job right or not? I don't need any of this Dungeon and Dragon fairy tale type stuff. Like, I don't need that in order to play this game. But I was like, that doesn't work for everybody else. Not everybody takes the berating or the rah rah. I was like, some people are chill. Maybe you gotta talk to them more personally. Maybe you gotta give some of them hands on. Maybe you gotta give them some analogies or something like that. Maybe you do gotta sort of not necessarily, I want to say coddle, but I was like, you do gotta pump them up, give them some couple compliments or whatever. Or if you did do like the Brian Flores thing, you gotta do the balancing out where it's like you don't go that harshly of like you ain't gonna be able to. I was like, you could say like, hey, you keep making plays like that, you ain't gonna be able to play in the league that long. But then also being like, hey, that's what you keep doing. You're gonna be able to be a top quarterback. You play like that. Like you gotta have the balancing out. So that's why I said I don't know what Mike McDaniel does on the balancing out, because I was like, you giving me too much praise or whatever like that. I'm like, man, get out of here. Am I doing? I was like, I know I'm messing up on something, but I was like, but I do think I think that's, and the reason I said that, and this is from just the football spot to like relying, but basically just like, yo, not everybody. I was like, yes, you can have a standard and stuff like that, but when it comes to like, especially like individual teaching and stuff like that, you gotta know how to talk to the specific people that you just know how to talk to. You just can't come at them some type of way, and the berating or whatever, and like coming at them harshly. I was like that. I was like in the mix of actually like doing something that can work, but when it's like every day, or especially like something with practice where it's like the whole point is like getting better, not necessarily like on the game you screaming at me on the sideline, something like that. And that's a different. Where in the game I was like we're at this higher level of like emotions, but I was like with practice all that other stuff, like not saying that you're not higher up there, but it's like this is like learning and stuff like that. Like after a while, like I'm gonna block your ass out. I'm not listening to you. I was like either you've lost me because maybe I'm too low about myself, or you just lost me in a way where I'm like, well, you just gonna keep yelling all the time. I was like, then it don't matter what I do. I don't care anymore. So I can understand where Tua end up getting from and whatever. And I know I was like, and also look, I've been critical of Tua since he's sort of been our quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I was on the whole parade of Deshaun Watson because I was like, before we knew what he got there, and I was like, hey, dodge the bullet there. But I was like, but I was of like Tua and be like, oh, I'll take Dak or Sean Watson, or we should get Lamar Jackson when he, But I was like, but at the same time, I was like, those quarterbacks to me are better than Tua. So that's why it wasn't like I'm like, oh man, get us Kirk Cousins. Like, no, I was like, no, I'm sticking with Tua. Oh snap, Derek Carr, free agent. No, we sticking with Tua. That's what we doing. And I was like, to be honest, I'm fine with Tua now. I was like, look, I'll be honest, I don't think Tua's going to be the one to give us a Super Bowl. But granted, also, we also are playing with like Burrow, Lamar, Josh Allen, things like that. Then I was like, nah, everything's on him, but also as a quarterback, he's making big money now. Guess what? That just comes with it. Like he should get the criticism that you need if you're going to be a top quarterback. That's what you're going to get. But I was like, but at the same time, I was like, he's a really good quarterback. And like I said, not everything is his fault. I think it's unfair for people to be talking about his stats and stuff before he had Flores, and I was like when he had Flores and now, because none of the stuff is the same. He had better weapons now that he didn't have when he was with Brian Flores. Brian Flores and that team was garbage. Like I was like, I mean, like yes. Like to me, to be honest, that the record speaks more to Brian Flores, and that's why I think Brian Flores is a good coach, even though he might have did that to Tua. And also, you sort of got to ask. I was like, I would love to know other teammates of Tua's around that same time that is still on the team perspective of it, because like I said, that team played well. The defense was up there. I was like, they were winning games they shouldn't have won. And I was like, while the whole turmoil of Fitzpatrick and Tua and Fitzpatrick and that stuff was very like aggravating, because it's like, because I was like, to be honest, like while we were running games, I was like, you got to know about Tua. And that was sort of my thing of like during that time. It's like, hey, let's just throw Tua into the fire, like, and see what he got before we just over here just being like get rid of them. But like I said, that to me, they were better quarterbacks. So I was like, that's why I didn't mind necessarily the Tua trade, because I was like, to be honest, if there was another team with like a young quarterback and they did that, nobody would bat an eye. But I think because it's Tua and he had the whole thing from Alabama with the hip and how it went down, how it was going down with Florida, I think he became a very sympathetic figure for a lot of people, and everybody like give him a shot and all this other stuff. And look, Mike McDaniel is also a different coach than Brian Flores, and I'm like, hey, a different coach can make a lot of difference. I know I just said different like 14 times in one sentence. But, yeah, then I was like, and as we see, especially an offensive guy, he gets the ball out, because I was like, but the thing is that I don't think they also played to his strengths at all during those earlier times, because we know he don't have a strong arm, but I was like, he's accurate. He gets the ball out fast. I was like, and I was like, I really think that Tua can be like Peyton Manning, where like Peyton Manning didn't have a strong arm, but I was like, he was so like on no, like, I know I'm going here, timing, accuracy, that it didn't matter or whatever. But you also see when we play other teams and stuff like that after a while they do start to get Tua with that in that same way. And I was like, but also that's why also too with Tua, and it's not Tua's fault, but it's like, even though he's a top quarterback, I was like, to me, he's in that mode of Brock Purdy, where it's like, it's not a knock, but I was like, they need weapons. You need Tyreek Hill. You need Jalen Waddle. That's why I didn't like when they got rid of Mike Gesicki, just because I was like, to me, he's another big, tall weapon. He's big, and they don't have big receivers. That's why I didn't like them getting rid of Gesicki or whatever. But I was like, that's why you need the creativity in the offense at times too, even though that people started figuring that out and things like that. Whereas like Purdy, I was like, you need Kittle, McCaffrey, stuff like that. I was like, especially especially early on, just until because then one day, look, Tua won't need. Like how with Josh Allen, they got rid of Stephon Diggs. Why? Because Josh Allen is at a point now where it's like, okay, cool. I can create these people more so than these people need to help me. And I was like, Tua sort of, I was like, but Tyreek Hill is still at the top of his game. Jalen Waddle just got to stay healthy. And I was like, and I was like, they're good. So I was like, the real people emotion about this, about Tua and telling his feelings and talking about that. And then on the other end with Brian Flores, like I said, owning up and just being like, hey, I wasn't doing what I need to do. It wasn't the best way of doing things, and being like, hey, I learned from that and I'm trying better now. That's the most, that's the best you can ask for, really, to be honest. So I give him that on owning that. And I was like, to me, you can't take that away. Yeah, so I think it's over and done with. This ain't gonna be anything extra or nothing like that. It is what it is. I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine with Tua getting off his chest or whatever like that. That doesn't mean, I was like, and look, like I said, I'm critical to it, but that's because I was like, he's not perfect. That's fine. I was like, is he top 5? I was like, you could debate that amongst yourselves. I'm gonna say no, but you get what I'm saying. But I was like, but is he a good quarterback? Yes, he's a good quarterback. I was like, he's in a good system. I was like, got the right weapons. I like how they decided to also do this with Tua as well too. I was like, I know I said Peyton Manning and Drew Brees might be also in that look. I know that was always a comp for him for a long time as well too, or whatever. But I really do think that like Peyton Manning might be like his floor could be Drew Brees and his ceiling can be Peyton Manning for Tua, to be honest. But I was like, I appreciate him getting off this and talking point, and also just to talk about it in general amongst everybody on just this type of stuff in general, not with just sports, but with everything in general. But anyway, what do y'all think about the whole Tua Brian Flores? Is something I overlooked? What is your experience with basically like dealing with a boss that that was doing this to, and how did it make you feel? How do you take criticism, or what do you play in sports? How did you deal with like coaching and all this other stuff? But anyway, let me know what you think. Yeah, until then, peace. I'm out.